I used to think that beauty had to be something big, a perfect home, a full schedule, a long to-do list checked off every night. But I've come to learn that a beautiful life is often seen in small, everyday ways as I embrace each day that God has given me. Join me today for a day of homemaking while I also share the journey that God brought me through. Instead of chasing after a life of constant doing and busyness, I now choose a simple, beautiful way of life. My simple living journey actually started at Christmas time, the year that I became pregnant for the first time. I was getting over a couple months of just really extreme morning sickness, and I had lists and lists of things to do. I had gifts to buy, I had places to go, I had food to make. And I remember just sitting there looking at everything that needed to be done, and it just hit me. I realized I didn't have to do everything on my list. I had a choice. I could run around stressed out trying to do all the things, or I could simply choose to do less. And I chose to do less. I chose the simple and peaceful route instead. And later on, I remember thinking back about that Christmas season, and it just felt like the best Christmas I had ever had because I had chose simple. And that is really where simple living began for me. It was a lesson that trickled down to other areas of my life, especially in my homemaking. I used to strive for a perfect home, one that was comparable to something on Pinterest. And I finally realized that that only caused me stress and it caused me discontentment. And so instead, I choose a really rather simple home and simple routine because it's easier to manage. I love decorating my home, and I've tried to make a beautiful space for my family with decor that I enjoy, but I try to keep it really simple. I keep my decor stash small, and I rotate a lot of my decor rather than going out and buying new things a lot of the times. If I do buy new things, it's on purpose. I know exactly how I'm going to use it, and I usually shop thrifted and antiques that are, on sale. I found this plate rack for $2 at a thrift store recently, and I really wanted something different over top of the doorway in our kitchen. I wanted to move this platter to our living room, and so I added this up here, and I was able to display some plates that were my mother's china, which she passed down to me, and that was really special to be able to add that up here in this area of my kitchen. I also love to organize, and if you go on Pinterest, you will see all kinds of pictures of fancy bins and labels, but in my home, I don't have that. I choose simplicity and functionality by simply decluttering on a regular basis. And I also love to use what I already have to organize. Every once in a while, I will purchase a new bin. But if I purchase a new bin, it's because I have used a space and tried to make it work without the bin, and it didn't work. So I'm really intentional about what I bring into my home and how I organize the things that I have. I found this little fridge container from the Dollar Tree, and it was the perfect size for the cheese sticks in our refrigerator. I had been putting them in this big bin and they were just falling all over and it just was not working out. So I did pick up this little bin and it worked just perfectly for the cheese sticks. Simplicity is also seen in my daily routines. So each day I make my bed, I clean the kitchen each evening, and those are just really simple daily rhythms that create a beautiful life and a beautiful home. Proverbs 31:27 tells us about a wife of noble character. It says, "She looks well to the ways of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness." That verse isn't about perfection or busyness or a big grand life. It's about care and deliberate choices, and it's about being present in the life that God gave you. I want it to be said of me that I looked well to the way of my household, and I need to know what's going on in my home and take care of the needs of my family. So simple living doesn't mean laziness. Clearly, we as women are called to not eat the bread of idleness, as that verse said. But what I've learned is that simple living is really about cutting out the extras and instead focusing on what is most important. Another area that I have simplified is my cleaning. Instead of a lot of fancy, expensive tools or products, I use really simple, basic products. I have my Castile soap and water mixture, all-purpose spray that I use a lot. I have some go-to microfiber cloths that I use for dusting and cleaning the windows and just even wiping down the countertops. And those work well for me, and I just don't go out and buy a bunch of different random products that are expensive and that take up a lot of space to hold. Another area of my life that simplicity has changed is with my time. And I'm much more careful with my yeses that I give to people. It's easy to say yes to a lot of good things, but that has turned into burnout for me. And so what I've learned is it's better to say yes to the best things rather than a lot of good things. And before I say yes to something, I always consider the toll that it's going to take on me and also on my ability to care for my family. When I have said yes to too many things, I have run out of energy. I've run out of steam, and the wrong things get my attention. The wrong things get my energy. And so that's when I have to stop and I have to say, okay, let's cut back on some things. Let's simplify here. And I've learned to just simply say no to some opportunities. Taking care of my family and my home should not be an afterthought. And I don't want to give my family my leftovers because they are my priority. Simple living allows me to make my family a priority because I'm able to cut back on certain things that just are not the most important. Another area in my life that I've simplified is my meals. I don't look at complicated recipes on Pinterest anymore, or at least not as much as I used to. I keep my side dishes super simple, and we really just use the same meals over and over again. And every once in a while, I'll try a new recipe, but I try to limit the ones that I try and make sure that they are with ingredients that we often already have in the home. This change in my life has been a wonderful blessing to me and to my family. And I just want to encourage you, if you are in a place where the work of homemaking feels like too much, I want to encourage you today to cut back and to simplify in an area that maybe I've mentioned here in the video or something else in your own life that you can think of. And if you would like to sign up for any of my free homemaking resources, I will leave those linked below. They're all full of homemaking encouragement and just practical help to lift your heart and just remind you of the fact that what you do in the home matters. So today, I hope you know that you don't have to be busy to be faithful. You just have to do whatever God has called you to do today.